initiative, but it's not guaranteed most people would like, oh, like, no, you know, right.
Oh.
Peace and blessings, everybody. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome to the February 10th, Human Services Committee for Manhattan Community Board 11. My name is Isaac Scott and I'm the chair. This meeting is called to order at 6:00 p.m. Okay. Yeah, in order to conduct an efficient meeting, let's observe a few ground rules. No one may speak until granted the floor. CB 11 members, if you have a question about board business or wish to make a motion, please raise your hand and wait to be recognized. To raise your hand through Zoom, click the participant icon and you can find the raise hand function there. If you have technical difficulty, click the chat icon and relay your difficulty to staff. Members should not engage in a back and forth discussion. The chair will recognize the next person to speak. The chat should not be used for CB 11 business or questions about agenda topics. All such remarks should be made on the record when recognized. Please keep your questions and comments brief and on topic to the discussions. Members of the public, if you have a question or comment about a subject on the agenda, please raise your hand and wait to be called. We will do roll call now. Committee members, please answer present when you hear your name.
Martha Garcia.
Present.
Marcel Bonvima.
Present.
Rosa Diaz.
Present.
Arnice Foster Hernandez.
Present.
Jennifer Meyer.
Present.
Valerie Conti. Asher Rodriguez. Isaac Scott.
Present.
Robert Stration.
Present.
And Alita Chichenboy. You have a quorum, Isaac.
Okay, thank you, everyone. So the agenda for tonight's meeting was distributed ahead of time by the board's office and was posted online. If there are no objections, we will adopt the agenda as stated. Committee members, if you object to adopting the agenda, you may raise your hand and wait to be recognized. Okay, seeing no objections, we will adopt the agenda for tonight's meeting. There are no minutes to be ratified. Isaac did not do his job as efficiently as he should have. So there are minutes that need to be completed and all past due minutes will be submitted and ratified in the March meeting, which will also, Lord willing, I won't be here for the March meeting, but our Vice Chair, Jen Meyer, will be sharing that meeting and she'll have those minutes completed and we can ratify them at that time. But I'll give them in enough time so everyone can see them before. So it's not like last minute. So with that, right over there, Mark? I'm fine. All right, so yeah, so we can transition now into our announcements. And I have an announcement here. I'll give the first announcement and then I'll open the floor to any announcements from the committee and from the general public. And announcements is not the time for informational updates or presentations. These are random announcements. Maybe they're about events or things that are happening. If you're already scheduled to be on the agenda, you have a slot, so you don't need to raise your hand. But if you are on and you have an announcement that's not, directly related to what you want to present, please let us know. The New York Health Department has released Addressing Unacceptable Inequalities, a Chronic Disease Strategy for New York City. A multi-agency strategy that addresses the root causes of chronic disease such as heart disease, diabetes, and screenable cancers, and outlines interventions that support longer, healthier lives for New Yorkers. Chronic diseases are a leading cause of death in New York City, taking an especially high toll on Black New Yorkers and New Yorkers in communities experiencing disinvestment. And you can learn more. We have some links. So what we'll do, I think the best way, if you don't want to Google search this yourself, I think the best thing to do is just reach out to me directly, and I'm happy to email you the documents and the links from what I just read. And let me just read my email to you all. The email is humanservices@cb11 cb11m.org. So that is Human Services with an S at the end at cb11m.org. If you email me, I will send you this announcement with the links attached to it. One link is the PDF and the other link, I feel like both of these links are the same thing and it's the report. So, yes. That concludes the announcements that I have this month. Yes. Are there? Yes. Rosa.
Yes, thank you, Chair. East Harlem Community Partnership, we're gonna have our little heart-to-heart event on Friday, February 14th at 5 p.m. in 71 East 111th Street on the second floor. If you would like to join, please email us at info@ehcp@gmail.com. Or you can call 315-614-6366, extension 21108. I'm sorry, my eyes. Please join us. It'll be fun and there will be food and there will be surprises and love.
Fun, food, surprises, and love. How can you beat that? Thank you, Rose. Are there any other updates from any committee members? Okay, cool. Any updates, not updates, announcements from any of the folks in the virtual space? Are there any hands up? Okay, cool. So seeing no hands, we'll transition right into our informational updates. The first set of informational updates will be from the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. Do we have Paulina?
Hi, good evening, everyone. This is Pauline from the Health Department. So I will share, I'm not allowed to share. Can someone give me access to screen share if possible?
Go ahead.
Try now.
Okay, thank you. So Chair Scott took the wind out of my sails because I was going to address our strategy for addressing unacceptable inequalities. The report can be found on our homepage. Of course, you can always email Isaac for the links, but if you want to, this is just my plug for people to go and visit our website because on the top main screen of the Health Department website, we have a banner of all of the things that we sort of want to highlight that's going on. So there's also the Stay Healthy NYC campaign, just reminding people to get vaccinated, and abortion, as we know, the new administration, people are very concerned about women's reproductive rights. And so this is very important as well. And so we just want all this information up front and ready for people to utilize. So I highly recommend that you read through this report. And if you have any questions as a board, please send them to me and I'll try to get you some answers before the next month's meeting. But what I really wanted to highlight was our flu surveillance. So we are seeing high rates of influenza A diagnoses and not so much RSV anymore. And we are seeing a decrease from last week, but there was like a huge spike, as you can see, December through January. And so we do track this, and this report comes out weekly. Again, it can be found on our website. Let me just quickly show you how to get there. If you just type in flu surveillance, you will be able to be taken directly to our flu page. And then there you can click on the weekly flu surveillance summary. So the report that I just pulled up was week ending February 1st. But we have all of the reports from the start of flu season in October. So again, just highlighting the fact that people are getting very ill with flu this season. It's not too late to get your flu shot, but if you are not feeling well, we definitely recommend you talk to your healthcare provider. They say that, getting care and medication in the first 48 hours will really decrease the amount of time you're ill with the flu. But also, if you are not feeling well, obviously try and stay home as much as possible, get rest, drink a lot of water. And if you are out and about, continue practicing those safe hygiene guidelines. Of course, wash your hands frequently. If you don't have access to water and soap, to use hand sanitizer. and use a mask if you're out in really populated areas. This is just information about RSV. We can see that it has declined. So anyway, we just have a wealth of information on our website. We highly recommend everybody utilize it. And I'm happy to take any questions if anyone has. Thanks so much.
Thank you very much, Pauline. Are there any questions from any committee members? Seeing no questions here, are there any questions from the virtual space? Thank you. So Pauline, thank you again very, very much for your updates, and thank you for showing us how to find those reports.
No problem. Thank you.
So our next set of updates is also from the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene, but the Center for Equity and Community Wellness. Do we have Cheyenne on? Hi,
Yes.
Cheyenne.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks again for having me. I have a couple of updates also on behalf of the Health Department, but as Chair Isaac said, from the Center for Health Equity and Community Wellness, specifically the Harlem Bureau of Neighborhood Health, which you might also know as the Action Center. So I'm going to start with some Action Center programming that we have coming up. To start with our Family Wellness Suite unit, we always have programming from them. They're pretty consistent, which is amazing, including maternal yoga that's offered every single week, as well as a childbirth education class done in Spanish and English, as well as a new Mommies Club, which is a breastfeeding support group, also done weekly. And also I wanted to highlight, I don't think I highlighted this last time, that we have a lactation room that's available to the public. So if you know anyone who is breastfeeding and would like to use that lactation space, it is always open. You just have to come into the Action Center and request to use the space. It's really cute, really well done. So that is a resource that's available to everyone. I'll also mention that our partner NILAG is having uh, a legal clinic. They're hosting an advanced planning clinic on March 5th. And what they're doing during this program is they're partnering with a private legal firm to offer the preparation of the following documents: power of attorney, healthcare proxy, appointment of agent to control disposition of remains. So this is great if you know anyone who needs support in creating and filing these documents, which I'm sure can be very difficult. So that's Wednesday, March 5th from 11 a.m. to 2. It is appointment only. And another great perk here is that they're open to picking up clients from their home. I think if you're in the five boroughs, they can pick you up, but I'm not sure about that part. But I do know it's maybe an option. They can try to figure out if they are able to support you in that. The last thing I'd like to mention today is that tomorrow we're having another fair, which is open to all community members. I think this is our 10th time doing this fair, and we'll have health insurance enrollment. Um, Folks on site will have two legal organizations that can support with housing, immigration, and any other legal concerns or questions. And then also, fun, we'll be doing a free giveaway at this one. We were able to secure 100 hats, like beanies, winter beanies, and 100 gloves to give away to community members. So that is tomorrow at the Action Center, 158 East 115th Street between Lexington and 3rd. And it starts at 10 a.m. and ends at 1 p.m. I think that's all that I have right now, but happy to always answer any questions and also put my information in the chat. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheyenne. Thank you very much. Are there any questions from any committee members?
Cheyenne, I have a question. You mentioned NILAG is doing a forum to support families with POAs and stuff like that. Would they be willing to support families in urgent need of a POA?
That is a really good question. And the guidance that we've received recently is if folks are in need of immediate legal support, especially if they're facing immediate removal, they should contact the expedited legal team, which I have the information I'm gonna pull it up and I'll put it in the chat. It's a hotline where folks can call and be connected to. It's 3 different legal groups working together in order to file appeals and any other necessary paperwork on behalf of folks who are facing more immediate danger. So I'll put that in the chat, the hotline number and email. And then if I can, I'm on my phone tonight because I don't have access to my laptop. But if I can, I'll put the flyer too. But if not, I can make sure to get that to Isaac.
Thank you.
Of course.
Any other questions from any committee members? Any questions from anyone in the virtual space? Okay, seeing no hands, thank you again, Cheyenne.
you.
Appreciate it. And I'm gonna do my best to stop by tomorrow morning too.
Yes, please.
So I'm gonna give the update for East Harlem Co-ed. It's a brief update. It is regarding the in-person meeting. It will take place this month on February 20th at 4 p.m. at the Health Action Center on East 115th Street, same place where the resource fair will be tomorrow. It will be about preparedness updates, and there will be a workshop on wellness as well. It's open to the community, and you can email Selena Hernandez for any, if you have any questions at all, and their email is East Harlem. So I'll spell it out, EASTHARLEMCOAD@gmail.com. That is East Harlem Coed@gmail.com. And the meeting for March will be on the 20th at 4 p.m. So that is, excuse me. No. Yeah, next month in March will be on 20. So I say February the 20th at 4 and March the 20th at 4 as well. And that may fall that way because February is the 28th. That may be why we're saying the same days. But please just staying on February 20th, 4 p.m. Health Action Center. All right. I can't answer any questions really about that because I don't know about the event. I'm not with East Harlem Co-ed, so I do recommend that you direct your questions to Selena and the folks at East Harlem Co-ed with the email I just gave you. Lastly, I will transition to the Center for Comprehensive Health Practice. Shannon, thank you for your patience.
Hi, no problem. So we don't have many updates other than CCHP is continuing our free HIV clinic on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 9 to 3 p.m. So if you know anyone that is in need of free HIV testing, regardless of insurance status, you can come and get tested for free. And we're also doing free testing this Thursday at the Common Pantry. If you know anyone who utilizes the pantry, they can get free HIV testing there as well, just this Thursday. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Shannon and CCHP? No questions from committee members, no questions from the virtual space? Thank you very much, Shannon. Appreciate you. So we will transition now into our presentations and discussions. So we have our first presentation from our public member, Rob Mastration.
Sorry, I
Right.
have one more from Northwell. Did you get that
Oh.
email? Remember the email?
I did not. Okay, yeah, so someone on for Northwell? Yes, forgive me.
Hello, yes, hi,
Hi.
my name is Mitch Cornett. I'm the Vice President for Community Strategic Partnership here at Northwell. Really wanted to introduce myself and my colleague Vince Cunningham, who's the Assistant Vice President for Community Wellness and Population Health from the Dream of Lark. He's a Program Manager for Community Wellness and Population Health. We actually had a presentation to review with you just some of the aspects of us really wanting to partner with Community Board 11. What I'll do is I'll just submit that presentation for the minutes, and we'll just love an opportunity for our team to work closely with you and looking at how we can help with uplifting the health of the community of East Harlem.
Thank you. So so if you get that in immediately, then we can get you onto the March agenda.
Okay.
And we can have those conversations. We love those conversations. So that would be amazing.
Yeah, we have a complete presentation. We were able to actually pull a lot of data from our computer systems, and I think it'd be a great opportunity to talk about strategically how we could potentially partner in some health promotion aspects. I think there's a great opportunity for us. So we will submit the presentation and love to present in your March meeting.
Thank you very, very much. And it's a pleasure meeting you. Thank you for being here tonight.
Thank you so much.
Okay. That was everybody. Forgive me. Okay, we're moving into our presentation and discussion section. One of the things that I personally wanted to do is acknowledge the work that's being done in community by the committee members. So we have a lot of outside agencies come in and present to us, but there are a lot of folks here serving on our committee who are doing work in the community with different organizations and different initiatives. And we wanted to make sure that we are giving them, we're informing the community about every resource that is even the resources that us committee members bring to the table. So I'm over the next few months, you'll hear presentations from different board members regarding the work that they are doing in East Harlem. So without me running my mouth anymore, I'm going to turn it over to Robin, who will give us a presentation on Search and Care. Hey, Robin.
Thank you so much. May I please have the ability to share my screen?
You do.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. I love being with you all. I'm sorry I'm not with you tonight, but I'm glad for the opportunity to talk about what I'm doing during my other hours, which is working for a little nonprofit called Search and Care, which has been in the community since 1972. We were founded at a church on the Upper East Side, and the name is a reaction to the Vietnam War's search and destroy mission. That's how we got to be called Search and Care. And I think it's kind of nice that we have a name that describes a lot of what we do. We're connected to faith-based, a lot of other nonprofits throughout the community, many hospitals, and I'd love to talk to Northwell when I have a chance, because our clients are age 60 and older, and our mission is to help them remain in the community as long as safely possible, starting with social workers, but with a variety of other free services that all address impediments to a person's independence. All of our services are free. We are predominantly privately held, which means we're not just dependent on city or government contracts. We have a board of some 20 odd people. They're not odd. I just mean the number's odd. And they are really, they steer our ship. They raise funds. They hold 4 events during the year. We have a grant team who also seeks money from foundations. And that's how we're able to do what we do. We believe in serving the individual, and one size doesn't fit all. Almost all of our work is done one-on-one, predominantly in the home, which is what makes us a kind of different organization. If you know most senior centers, what their social workers and caseworkers are providing is case assistance. We tend to go a lot deeper, even though we're wedded both on the Upper East and Upper West sides to Department of Aging contracts. That's so we can still be involved with Meals on Wheels. Our own services go far deeper, and I'm happy to talk to you about them. Kind of as if they were doors to different services, but our service area is on the east side, 86 to 138th. We also, off the record, serve people in the 60s on up. On the west side, it's 60th to 110th. I said we were founded in 1972, but during the pandemic, numerous funders came to us and said, there's nobody up on the Upper West Side doing what you do, which is in-home free case management services. And so during the pandemic, we literally doubled our service area. We're only 15 people full-time, approximately 30 more consultants, and over 150 volunteers doing various things. So the primary door is care management, where you have social workers one-on-one going into the home, working with people and addressing their issues, whether it be housing or healthcare, et cetera. And it's interesting because the majority of our clients are single women. The largest catchment area is East Harlem, where 65% of our clients live at or below federal poverty level. This is probably the second most important service that we provide. Since our mission is to help people stay at home, we want to make sure the landlord is taken care of. Otherwise, there won't be a home for much longer. So we hire retired financial pros. They're field navigators, and they go into people's homes, and they begin usually with looking at bills and organizing papers. Can you put your hands on your Social Security determination letter? Can you read your mail? Most of the people that get this service have specific disabilities. They could be visual, they could be cognitive, et cetera, or they may not be able to write. One of the things that the financial navigators do is they're looking to avoid fraud and elder abuse, financial abuse, and they also help with debt reduction. This is my personal favorite. It's called Pets and Elders Together. If you've ever had a pet, especially if you're a single person, that's a family member. It's not just the four-legged creature on the floor. And it's really important to keep that relationship intact, because that lovely companion animal impacts every aspect of that person's life: financial, physical, mental health. We have a lot of services and funding to help intervene with providing food, vet care, grooming, and we like to do what we call advanced pet planning, meaning we ask every client to identify an emergency contact, excuse me, for that pet, for several reasons. If they're hospitalized, they're going to want to come home to it. If they haven't made plans, what's going to happen to that pet? They may lose it, and we don't want to see that relationship torn. We work very closely with a nonprofit called Paws New York, which is the only nonprofit I know of that purposely recruits volunteers to help people walk dogs or deal with cat litter. And they have a wonderful program to help pets stay at home while a person is hospitalized. Another reason I'd love to talk to Northwell. Medical escorts. For people who don't have the benefit of a home attendant, a friend, and even less scarce, a really nice neighbor that will fill in, we provide a service of a free chaperone to and from healthcare appointments. The person needs to be responsible for transportation arrangements. We can't assist if they're in a wheelchair, because that requires a higher level of care than our retirees who are doing this provide. We have younger seniors helping older seniors keep their healthcare appointments. And we're very concerned about healthcare equity. This is one of the ways that we help with that. Connectivity. For this generation of older adults, some of them never expected to be able to use a device or understand how to connect. And it's another reason why we work one-on-one. Some people might just enter this world by wanting to learn how to email a grandchild at college. Some seniors may want to go on dating sites. More importantly, more recently, we have a big initiative to help older adults learn how to use MyChart. It could not be more important. We work closely with Metropolitan because it's the city hospital in our community, but we're happy to talk to others. It's just an example of some of our events. And this store is really kind of where the fun is. Getting people together for common interests. You know, isolation is as deadly as smoking a pack of cigarettes. So getting people to come together for common interests couldn't be more important. We have craft groups, we have a meditation group, we have a decluttering group. And I think one of the more important groups is called Stronger Memory. It is a needs-based program, which has its own curriculum, which was designed by a company out of Virginia who works specifically with seniors. It's 12 weeks. The book that comes with it gives you 3 different kinds of exercises you do daily, 15 minutes each. One is simple math exercises where you time yourself so that by the end of the 12 weeks, you find yourself doing them even quicker. The second exercise is reading aloud. The third exercise is writing 2 paragraphs on a given topic. Together, these 3 exercises stimulate the part of the brain that has to do with memory. And that's kind of the end of my presentation, but I wanted to talk about share with you, let's see, stop sharing. One other aspect of Search and Care that not a lot of people know about, and it is called iChoose, which is a program that we started, I guess maybe 13 years ago, specifically at Central Park East High School on 106th Street. Initially, we had some of our clients coming with me to mentor teens to talk about making good choices. Unfortunately, since the pandemic, it's become even harder for our clients who are often frail to get out of their homes and into a school like that. So what did I do? I turned to community folks that I know who would inspire these kids from their own life stories. And it's not really about, it's not teaching, it's a conversation. And some people that you know are excellent at doing this. We meet every 2 weeks during lunchtime in a specific teacher's room, and the kids range from freshmen to seniors, and we really have some pretty deep conversations. But the funder's interest is teen pregnancy prevention. So over the course of this program, when we do surveys at the end of the year, we find that we've been able to make a significant difference in improving their confidence. They're better equipped to make decisions about avoiding pregnancy and safe sex. And I will tell you a little bit about who we have doing this. At the end of every iChoose session, we have Joanne Gigante, who was a former controller for Search and Care, is now a meditation and yoga coach certified. So the last 10 minutes of this program is downtime for the kids. It's the only time they don't have like this in their ears or their eyes. And it's really lovely. The kids really enjoy it, which is happily surprising to us. But there's some physical benefits to it for them as well. And our best mentor is your own Isaac Scott. The kids, he has a relationship with these teens unlike anybody else because they just see him as a real person. That's who he is. And I know Isaac inspires them better than anybody I could ever introduce them to. So Isaac, this is a way of thanking you for doing that. Isaac has been given awards for being an agent of change. He demonstrates that in the classroom with these kids too. One of my colleagues has a great conversation with the kids about gender and identity. Being the age that I am, I had no idea there were so many choices in one's life. It's kind of refreshing, but these kids know a lot about it even before we have these conversations. One of the workshops my colleague Joe provides is also about advocacy, advocating for yourself, being a voice, and really what we want these kids to learn by the end of the year is knowing their own voice. What is safe sex? It's a good conversation. We've had Xavier as a great mentor as well. One of the more fun conversations is they're a leader and you identifying qualities in the kids in the room. They talk about each other and then they look inward and think about what qualities do I have and what would I like to have in order to be successful. We have returning students acting as mentors. We have a former colleague of mine, Herbert Duran, who's one of only 5% of Latino working in library science. He works at Centro, which you may know is at Hunter. It's the one best repository of Puerto Rican studies in America. And he talks about preserving your personal, cultural, and societal memories, and also has some warnings about social media in that what you post is there forever. Lastly, last year we started a new project with them, using their cameras to tell a story. It's about finding their own voice yet again. And I just wanted to share with you this because it's specific to East Harlem, a community that we all really love. So that's some of the things that we do at Search and Care, and I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Robin, for your presentation.
Thank you.
I mean, great. Thank you also for the shout out. That was a beautiful slide. I'm a sucker for good visuals, so I appreciated that. That was very nice. Surprise. But yes, I will say that working with iShoes is one of the highlights. I appreciate I appreciate being trusted with young people. I think that's a big thing. So I appreciate when folks ask me to come in and speak to young people. I always feel like I don't know what the hell to say to them, but we always find a way, and we always find the right things. But I appreciate it. Yeah, I love young people, so I definitely appreciate it. Thank you very much, Rob. Are there any questions about Search and Care? Are you on the line, please?
So, who is eligible for all these services?
Good question. Thank you. You need to be at least 60 years old, live in our service area, which on the Upper East Side is 86th Street to 138th, between 5th Avenue and the river, or you can live on the Upper West Side between 60th and 110th Street, between Central Park and the Hudson River.
So let me. Sorry, it's just, I'm trying to so my dad died in September. Finally able to say that. And we struggle with getting him medical services. And and all the wonderful services that you offer. If a person doesn't have Medicaid or any type of health insurance, would they be eligible?
The answer is yes. We don't charge for our services.
Wow. Where were you all my life? But okay.
I don't know, but I'm here now. I'm so sorry we missed this important opportunity. I'm sorry.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know. What about? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. What about immigration status?
The person needs to have a documented address.
Okay.
That's how I will answer that question. How's that?
Okay. Thank you.
So that if they have a home. Okay.
Thank you. You're my angel now.
Oh God, I don't think I want that responsibility, but thank you. And Vincent, I got your message. Thank you. My number is 212-289-5300, extension 203. Happy to connect.
Thank you, Robin. We have another question from our niece.
Yes.
Robin, you just answered the question. I was gonna tell you how do people sign up, and you just gave the number. So Rosa, can you text that?
Please
Thank
call.
you, Robin.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll call you.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is why we have to do this, and we have to make sure we're bringing attention to the work that's even done by folks out close to.
Really? Oh, right there.
So, yeah, we'll correct those wrongs. Yeah, are there any other questions from any committee members? Anthony?
No, I don't have any questions. I just want to say it was a wonderful presentation, like all the services and things that you all are providing. I would love to connect with you, not to plug my own program, but to see if there's a way that we can collaborate, because I feel like there is a space for that.
We're always open to collaboration. We could not do what we do without collaborations. It takes, I don't want to use that phrase, it takes a village, but it does take a community sometimes. On the other hand, sometimes it just takes one person to make a difference in the life of an older adult. So think about that this week, please, and pick up the phone and call someone and wish them happy Valentine's Day, because nobody else is probably going to do it. It would make such a difference. Thank you.
Robin, oh, sorry. I think we do want your telephone number again, and it was too fast for us to get the last.
Sorry,
time, so
it
you
is
say it again.
212-289-5300, extension 203. Thank you all so much. Miss you.
Thank you, Robin. We look forward to having you back in person. Please get well. I didn't miss any hands in the virtual space that I'm on. Okay, great. So Marlene, let me ask you a clarifying question. The email, I mean, what was, I got it mixed up. I thought, so Andrew had hit me up earlier about Northwell. I thought they wanted to give a presentation for 5 minutes. It was an update about the presentation.
Right, if you had allowed them,
They could have given.
they could have given, yeah.
Okay.
We're okay. We can do it on the March, because it's probably going to takes me about a 10-minute and then have 5 minutes for questions. We'll just mirror the same process.
No, I was actually, forgive me, bro. I was actually confused. I thought, the folks, yes, I thought you guys were giving a presentation. I got mixed up with organizations. Forgive me.
No
If you
problem.
If you have it now and you want to give the presentation, you do have the 10 minutes, or we could wait until March. Either is fine.
Whichever works for you guys. We're open to either.
Yeah, we're good. We're on good time, so let's do it.
Okay. All right. So let me I can share the screen.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No problem. No problem at all. Let's see. Share. Let me know if you can see it.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Just see how we do this. So quickly, just give you an update of who we are as Northwell. We are the largest healthcare provider in the state of New York. We cover about 90,000 team members. And within the community relations team, our focus is really on the community. And our mission is really to promote health and wellness for all who reside in our community catchment area. One of the things that we highlight is we provide the second most amount of community benefit, only to second to Health and Hospital Corporation. In 2023, we provided about $2.6 billion in community benefit. That's charity care as well as educational information throughout our communities. And when you look at what we do as Northwell, these 16 areas of focus is really where we spend the majority of our time as it relates to community health. We actually have a roadmap, and we're hoping that the community board will actually help us as we develop our new roadmap for the next 3 years through our community needs assessment, which I'll address in a few minutes. Our focus, we look at certain communities that we consider a part of our catchment area that our communities of focus. These are areas that where we feel are most vulnerable and how we think that we can be able to support. As you can see here, when we look at the Harlem community, we look at Harlem and Central community. Although they're separate, we look at them as one of those communities that we want to focus on in terms of uplifting health. And in terms of how do we identify these communities, we look at some specific data. One relating to the CDC Social Vulnerability Index, which is really relating to the level of complexity of a particular community. We look at our ED utilization in terms of patients who come to our emergency rooms from these different communities. And then using COVID as a marker, we look at where we found the most highest COVID positivity rates in our catchment area. We never just look at general healthcare because healthcare is only about 20% of the total whole person. So we also look at the social determinant factors that actually address what affects a person's healthcare. And so when we look at partnering with organizations, we look at with organizations that also address some of these other factors because we think collectively that we can really raise the health of our communities. So our service area that we're kind of focusing on is both East Harlem and Central Harlem. And we actually use our data to create profiles of these communities so that we really can identify what are some of the opportunities that we can partner, for example, with Robin and her organization, how we can kind of help support, because we don't actually have assets specifically in certain communities, but we do believe in partnerships. And then that's through those partnerships, we're able to kind of uplift and really address some of the issues. Looking in terms of Community Board 11, we actually did also a profile as it relates to some of the areas, including housing burden, poverty, and prenatal care. And we can see that there are certain pockets that we can really participate and really work with the different community organizations. And you can look at the vulnerability index. You can see, the higher the number, the darker the color, which really indicates the need. And so our ability to work with those community organizations to help uplift the community is really one of our main focuses. These are just some of the general things that we've kind of reviewed through our data in terms of the community and what are some of the high areas of disease management that we can partner with. And also, we've already started developing relationships with other community organizations that are around the Harlem and East Harlem area. So, for example, we have actually developed a new relationship with Borinquen Health Center, as well as Damien Family Health Centers. And really, our goal is to really try to enhance those relationships, really trying to see how we can partner with them. This is just some of the data that we pulled from our own system, identifying some of the major health-related needs of the community and really trying to understand where those needs can be addressed. This is what we noticed, that the population in the East Harlem is actually getting older. And so, to Robin's point, the need to actually have partnerships where there are wraparound services. One of the things that we were talking about internally when you were presenting is connecting you with our health home team that actually provide primary care providers into the homes, and then also with our health management team to help with some of that case management wraparound services. As you can see here, when you look at certain parts of Harlem and East Harlem, some of the main areas where there is some differences in terms of care, and then looking at how we can kind of look at some of these illnesses and maybe potentially partner with Community Board 11. And we learned that through these partnerships, that's really the way that we can really empower the community, developing solutions both from a public health perspective. So working closely with the Department of Health is also one of our main focus areas, and also trying to see how we can work with the different partners that we have developed to see how we can, again, support uplifting the healthcare of those areas. One of the things that we do is what we call listening tours, where we actually go into the community, meet with community-based organizations, and kind of learn from them what are some of the needs, and seeing how we, with our assets, can support partnering for those particular needs, but also looking at how we can actually do more together. So these are just some of our partners that we've identified that we have been working with closely in the East Harlem area. I'm not going to go over that, but one of the things I wanted to bring up, which is towards the end, is our community needs assessment. This is one of the things that we do every 3 years to really kind of look at what our strategy is going to be for the next 3 years. And so we really think there's an opportunity here working with the community board to get our community needs survey out to all members in the community, and then using that information and also developing focus groups. As you can see on the bottom right, there are focus groups that we're hoping to develop, and then hopefully with that, we can then look at how we can address some of the needs of the community. So happy to take any questions. I'm very excited to learn more about the different organizations that Community Board 11 partners with, and then we're also very excited to hopefully begin partnering with Community Board 11, focusing on uplifting the healthcare of the East Harlem community.
Thank you very much for your presentation. My question is, aside from helping to distribute the survey, how can we help and how can we be of service as a committee?
Well, I think a couple of things. One is actually identifying other community-based organizations, because we are looking to have focus groups The survey is one tool that we use to get an assessment of the different communities focus that we spend our time in, but the other important is also the focus groups. So leaders of the community in the East Harlem community who we can actually invite to our focus groups so that we can kind of get a more holistic understanding of the needs of the East Harlem community, so that when we develop our roadmap, that roadmap will also incorporate the needs of the East Harlem community.
Right.
Okay, that's perfect. That's helpful. It's always helpful when we know exactly how we can be of service.
Yeah, very excited to partner with you guys.
So yes, please.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. This is Arnice. What is your contact information to get more information from you?
So you can reach me at mcornett@northwell.edu. I think Vince Cunningham, who's our AVP, has also put his contact, and then Ladrima Lark, I think she'll put her contact also in the chat. Any one of us, connecting with us, will be able to return and help however we can.
And Arnice, I'll email you. I'm gonna forward the whole committee their emails. So.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, please go ahead.
When you say, I saw in one of the slides, you say like listening tours, do you mean like partner with organizations and then you guys come in to like listen in on one-on-one virtually, or do you just send out a survey to people?
No.
Like how does that
So
work?
we do a little bit of everything. So for example, we were in Queens. We'll go, for example, if you're going to have a group together, we can come in and just kind of listen and understand what are some of the needs are. We also have a scenario where we'll come, like let's say we use your space, and then you can invite different organizations that you feel would be beneficial for us to hear from, to understand and get a pulse of the community. And then we'll have our team here asking questions and really try to develop a healthcare strategy. One of the important things for us, and that's why we love the partnerships, is really there has to be a strategy. How can we address some of the concerns? So whether it be asthma and working with Barinkin on that, I mean, we're having meetings with Dr. Aponte and doing some things there, working with Damien in terms of substance abuse, and really try to figure out how do we, collectively as a group, kind of address some of those health-related concerns, and also with our Department of Health partners as well.
Right, because I was a bit shocked when I saw the life expectancy.
Yeah.
In East Harlem, it's 78, so it went down from like 86 within
Yeah.
these 10 years to 78. That's really shocking to me.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I think that gives us an opportunity, right? Are there some specific things that we can do collectively to change that trajectory, right? So some of the times, some of it, when we look at like maternal health, one of the things that we have a very hard focus is on maternal health. And, as Robin was doing her presentation, is one of the things I was thinking about, how do we create an environment where people are living healthier when it comes to having that birth journey, so that they're eating the right food, so that they're not coming in with preeclampsia, which then is a high risk for the moms, or gestational diabetes. How can we partner with some of our community health partners to kind of look at how do we uplift that health, whether it be, food insecurity or some other factors that could really be affecting, the maternal health. Or we're looking at cancer. One of the things that I do specifically, I work on men's health and men's cancer and prostate cancer. So, looking at, when you look at African-American men and how, they're 2 times more likely to be diagnosed at a later stage where the treatments are limited, and, how do we address those issues? Same thing with breast cancer and GYN cancer. So again, I think those are the things that are leading to that decrease in life expectancy. And is there some opportunities for us to partner and address some of these concerns to improve those numbers?
Great, thank you.
Hi, can I just say one thing? This is Ladrima from Northwell. How are you guys? Just quickly, another way that you can assist us is by leading us in the right direction of what organizations we should work with. So if you could provide us with that information, that would be amazing.
Yep.
Can I add?
Please.
Mitch,
Yes.
one other thing, if you can go forward one more slide. There's one thing I wanted to highlight. We recently started working, when we say we're talking about a behavioral health service line with the James Weldon Johnson Houses, partnering with the community center and the tenants association to provide accessible behavioral health services to its residents. This was a grant, I believe, with the Mother Cabrini Foundation, where we'll be, providing in-house behavioral health services as well as telehealth services. There's a little bit of work that's going on within the community center to get it all prepped and ready, but we're hoping to go online towards the end of March, earlier April. So we should have a little bit more on that coming up in the March meeting as well.
That was my reason of asking because I am a member of the East Harlem Community Partnership and we hold monthly meetings. And we gather all these organizations to like strategize, what else can we do for the community members that need us, what is the need, what is the current need, right? So that's why I wanted to ask, and I said we'll send the information to all of us that we can connect directly also.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I sent this. I sent the emails for all four folks. Just wanted to verify. I sent the emails to
Got it.
Vincent Cunningham, Mitchell Cornett, Luis Oliveira, and Ladrina Luck. So yeah, so you'll probably be getting emails from all of us in different places.
That'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. The more the merrier. We're just looking to really lean on partners that already have a built-in constituency and people already that's showing up, so we could just bring additional services and be a value add to all these organizations within the community.
Sounds perfect. Thank you guys for being here. I apologize again for the confusion.
No problem. No problem at all.
I'm glad that we were able to do this now versus next month.
Yeah, and Ladrina will send the slide deck so that you can have, the profiles. And then we can actually start looking at, the different conditions and maybe start prioritizing those conditions and seeing, how we can work together to kind of address some of those issues.
Thank you very much. And Ladrina, if you don't mind sending that to Marlene directly, that'll be the best thing so that it can get posted right to the CB11 website where this meeting would show up for folks.
Not a problem. May I have Marlene's email?
Yes, I can read it to you.
I'll just write it in the chat.
Oh, you got, okay, great.
Thank you, guys.
Cool. Yeah, teamwork. Thank you guys again. We appreciate y'all.
Thank you so much.
All right, y'all. So we on good time and everything else is out of business. All right, so everything else now from here on is regarding our we're gonna transition into our budget discussion, our committee review of the fiscal year 26 preliminary budget documents and preparation for comments to be submitted to the district needs and budget committee for inclusion. Just really quick, before we even get started, Marlene, when do we have to have our comments complete?
If you choose to have comment, we don't have to, it's not mandatory for the preliminary, for the letter of comment. By the 20th, so before the 20th. For the executives meeting on the 20th, so before.
Okay, the reason I asked her that is because we're going to go through this together briefly. And I am gonna ask that you all, I always have comments to put on this. I feel like, it's a living document, it's an evolving one every year. Our issues look just a bit different, or they need just a bit more context. So I definitely encourage you all to, look through this, but I want to start, Marlene, can we pull up first? I'm not on, so I can't share screen. Can we start with the budget responses we got, and then we'll go over to the statement. All right. I'm going to, paraphrase, but I will get us through this. Okay, so. So the first request was, other domestic violence services request, the committee explanation, well, the committee explanation is there. I won't read the explanations because we all put them together when we did our, Alita, would you like some food? So yes, I won't read the explanation, but to note you all, our explanations were a lot, I don't know if you guys remember, but we had those short explanations that we expanded upon. We actually got different kind of answers, we didn't get, we probably didn't get the answers we wanted in every area, but they did give our request, some, I guess, I wouldn't say better consideration, if you will. But, the agency response to that request, for other domestic violence services requests was the agency supports and can accommodate. The agency explanation, HRA continues to maintain programs for domestic violence survivors in emergency shelter, for example, hotline services, safe and secure housing, supportive services, including case management, child care and education, medical services, transportation and referrals to other services. Defer to the mayor's office. I think with regards to this request, some things we might want to think about for next year is maybe, because they're saying they support it, like we already do it in other words. Perhaps we can request that the services be, the more funding be allocated towards the accessibility of the programs in terms of like outreach done around the programs, because they probably got them and nobody, they're not being utilized. They could probably be better parameters for, recruitment, I don't want to say recruitment is the word, but just better strategies for engaging people who may not, know of the services available, but also may be not in a position safety wise to actually access them where they want to. So that's something we should also consider, but these are here now for us to look through. I would love it if all of you guys look through this and gave it your thoughts. But the next one is other programs to address public health issues requests. This one, this was regarding, peer support interventions to improve recovery outcomes. So the agency supports but cannot accommodate. There are plans to provide additional support to contracted SSPs to help bolster the harm reduction work across the city, including East Harlem. So the sound, and Marlene, please correct me if I'm saying anything out of place, but it sounds like they're saying they're already gonna do it in a citywide capacity, and we will be included in that citywide capacity. Am I correct? Pretty much, right? The next one was provide, committee request, provide, expand, or enhance food assistance such as, food stamps and SNAP. The agency supports and can accommodate.
Yay.
Yeah, but they also point stuff like reviews. I'm trying not to get into the weeds like this, but yes, yay, it sounds good. But HRA continues to maintain funding for CFC, formerly the EFAP. NYC opposes cuts to SNAP and calls on Congress to maintain or increase SNAP funding levels. SNAP provides critical nutrition and support to families. So yeah, so it sounds like this is also something they may already be advocating for on a citywide level anyway. So this is great. Okay. So the next one, number 4, is other senior center programs requests. And this one was specifically for growing, East Harlem growing senior population requires expanded services and culturally appropriate care. We request increased funding for bilingual caseworkers and home care workers and translators who can assist in navigating medical, legal, and housing challenges. And additionally, funding should support culturally sensitive programs, including meals, English, language classes, and wellness activities. The agency supports but cannot accommodate. It says NYC agent is seeking additional funding for this request. Any commentary on that, Robin? I know, yes.
I feel like it's in the circular file, if you know what I mean by that. It'll never get addressed. That's how I feel about that. Not that it's not a legitimate request. Just so that you know, the Department of Aging's budget has not had an increase in a very, very long time. It's like at the bottom end of the council's budget, unfortunately.
Please, and then we.
That doesn't mean we shouldn't continue to advocate. If you have the
Yeah.
patience, I suggest, I don't know how else to reword it that's gonna make a difference. I think it's worded perfectly.
Yeah, I think to that point, Robin, we also haven't done any emailing DIFTA to be like, yeah, what's up? You know, so we could also do that as well. You know, like, but also I do understand what you're saying in that they're not getting a larger budget. So I don't know, there's some like outside advocacy we could do to the city and just email and like, hey, start, you know, we can be pestering.
The
So
other
that would
thing you
help.
can, the other way around it is to email the council's chair of Older Adults Committee.
Oh, there we go. Let's plan to do
That's
that.
probably gonna be more effective.
That in essence is my question or my point. It's like, this whole process seems strange because we're sending these requests, looking for more money or resources to agencies that sometimes agree with us. But they can't get the money from the people who
Correct.
actually give. So therefore, why are we asking the agencies to, you know, it's like, we're all going like, okay, that's great, we're all in agreement, but people who actually control the funds don't respond. Because the reality is, there is money that could be going to any of these things if the people who control the money decided they should go to this. We're not asking those people, we're asking the people who are affected by those people's decisions.
Right.
So maybe we do need to figure out a different way to go to the people who actually make decisions. It just seems like.
That was exactly my point. It was saying, because, and then for my own understanding also was, so when they support and they can accommodate, they asking, they say remove request, that means that request, so we're removing that request. So they mean that it's done.
I think they're requesting that we remove the request.
So, and then they said we submit a request, so that's what I'm saying. And if we have to resubmit, that means that next year to them again, or to each point?
No,
Let's just-
it would be, yeah, to say, so our request still go to the same 4 or 5 agencies. So we would just be enhancing this request, re-articulating it, but it seems like you guys are right, we hamster
We just going.
So we should definitely,
Find a way.
and to the point that you all are making, it may also be good to get DIFTA in here to see how we can support their advocacy for funding. Cause I'm sure they're reaching out trying to get funding as well, so perhaps we can see how we can partner with them, does that sound like something?
I'm so doubtful. I'm so sorry to be a pessimist. You know, I'm usually a positive person, but I have no confidence in this agency to do anything for themselves. If you were to write to the council head of the seniors committee, and you were to remind them that East Harlem has the largest number of NYCHA developments than any other community in all of the boroughs, in addition to maybe data about how many of our constituents are over 60, I think that would be the most powerful thing you could do.
Obviously, it hasn't been successful.
Yes, so Robin, can we all work on this? Can we work on
100%.
this?
And I just want to reiterate early on in our conversations about this, that the commissioner, from my experience, the 3 decades that I worked for the city and the state, they are responsible for knowing their current budget, what they were able to provide in that current budget, and what they're lacking to provide, the services that the community boards continually ask them for. And it's usually the commissioners who aren't articulating that to the mayor and the council because they want to feel like they're being effective in their role and not the one saying that they need more, pushing that you need to do more with less, which is what happens primarily throughout all city agencies. Which is why I said that the commissioners of these agencies that we're asking for these services from are the ones that you have to challenge and hold accountable and say, it's your responsibility to go to the mayor, irrespective of the council, and say, we are not able to fulfill the requirements of the residents of these communities, and this is why. they should have statistics to prove that. A lot of these people, particularly under Mayor Adams' administration, have been appointed through favors. And then the ones who are there are just hoping that they staying out of the spotlight, so they not gonna rock no vote anyway. You know what I'm saying? So he's busy trying to get his charges dropped, and yeah. I hope it's catching it, because we have to, with this political environment now, these politicians aren't being held to task.
Right.
And this, city council passed a bill to give people days off if they Texas sick. This is the time, this is what they're spending time doing.
Right.
This is ridiculous, like, we have to start calling them out for this nonsense, this is ridiculous. Like, let's scratch the 18 middlemen that we need, this is the community board, the community board has just as much voice and power as a city council person does. So we could go directly to the commissioner, to the mayor and say, let's see the 2025 fiscal budget. What did you do with it? And this is what we expect to have happen. Like, we're not asking no more.
Echo what she said.
No, to think this is the strategy. This is what we need to be thinking. Yeah, I love it. All right, so it sounds like we have some next steps with this. All right, so we can start this offline and then.
Happy to help.
Thank you. We can start this offline and workshop it.
Fortunately, though, I just want to add one more comment. If you were to ask a lot of our local electeds, they don't have any respect for the commissioner of this department. So they don't have any respect for this particular commissioner of this department. So I don't know that your efforts to confront that person or ask anything of that person are going to provide you with anything fruitful. Thanks.
Thank you, Robin.
That's great.
I think I think we should send like either like a resolution or some type of letter to hold them accountable for the work that we do, non-pay. By the way, we're here because we want to be the voice of the people. And some of them are getting the millions of dollars and they're sitting down with our letters and our resolutions, just like pass it on. Yeah, maybe we can help you with that. Remove it, just remove it.
But that's like if we were looking at the.
Resubmit.
If we were looking at the lineage of how government functions locally.
Right.
Is literally mayor, city council, commissioners, community. Well, borough president, you know what I'm saying, like, that's how.
Yeah, sure.
We have a voice. We
Yeah.
need to
No, it makes sense. We don't need those.
bring it up.
I love it. We good. So I think we can start the drafting of a letter plus a resolution. I think the letter, I think just going at the people we want to, we want to be making contact with, but I think also the resolution to say, hey, this is our position on what's taking place and what we want to see. Yeah. Sorry, I get distracted. All right, so number 5 was increased case management capacity. And this was also for the aging population. And again, DIFTA, agency supports but cannot accommodate. NYC is seeking additional funding for this request. So this also can be coupled within that. I think, I won't feel to beat that dead horse. I know what we're gonna do.
Just to help inform you about this, our average caseload for a DIFTA caseworker is 65 clients. That means you're just doing what that DIFTA says is the minimum. It doesn't allow you to really in-depth help anybody. It's absurd. Thank you.
All right, no, thank you, Robin. All right, this is great. All right, so number 7 is, all right, number 7 is animal and pest control requests, including reducing rat and mosquito populations. The agency supports but cannot accommodate. The agency explanation is integrated pest management is considered to be more ideal. Is considered to be more ideal approach, which entails more education to property owners and their responsibilities in mitigating rodent activity and the presence of trash containers. That didn't address the mosquitoes. Essentially what they're saying is they really just need to be educating property owners on how to do that. Now, we also, and our niece had connected us with the folks at DOHMH, and they came and did the rat mitigation presentation with us. So they did let us know all of the work that they are doing in East Harlem. They were actually excited about telling us to. But they also did speak a lot about, you know, it being on, you know, the folks, property owners, you know, they did speak about, you know, what you would get a penalty for, like if they see certain things, you would automatically get penalties for those things. So they were pretty thorough with us about what they are doing. And that's where you see a lot of those new garbage cans come in. Yeah, things like that. So they did come and give us a presentation, and if I'm not mistaken, it was either December or November. They gave a presentation, so definitely, and you all have the slides for that too, but we can go back to that. Now, also, Pauline gave a presentation on the mosquito spray a few months ago, and she talked about, you know, how they would, you know, how they do it spraying in the air and stuff like that for mosquitoes. So those are also things like, having read this, if we want to just refresh our memory, next meeting when we have Pauline, we can ask questions again, or we can email her, you know, if you guys want to send direct emails, you can definitely do that, just ask questions, just don't like cuss anybody out. Trying to keep it for the church, build partnerships, but yeah, but you know, so they did, we did seek alternative means to getting an explanation for this, if you will. So, no, I'm not saying they're doing everything they could be doing, but they are doing a lot. They did show up and they wanted to be accountable to us, and they did also tell us about, you know, what we could do to encourage property owners as well. Arnie, did I miss anything?
No, you're right
But
on.
that's mostly for like private property owners, right? Like in regards to NYCHA, did they actually give?
That was one of the biggest property owners they have an issue with.
Right, it's like, cause I feel like they weren't able to actually like give like a minimum number of, you know, this is how many of these canvases need to be deployed within each development because of the number of people who live within the state.
You're one yes, they were not as confident about getting the information and the support of NYCHA.
Right.
Yeah, I know. Always feel
Like,
that
again,
way.
it's kind of like, it's like, oh, there's a lot of, it's just interesting that there's a lot of intention towards private property owners versus nice, right? And their responsibility for me.
Well, they during the presentation, they did say that they frequently, they have statistics on the conditions that they found in all the housing properties. But all they can do is report it because they can't summon them.
Yeah.
They can report it and bring it to findings like this is what we found, but like with any other city agency, depending on whether you was part of the Democratic Circle that participated in putting the criminals in office that he's in, then you either get the pass for it and you can get it ignored, or you getting held to task in sense the help, we all know the NYCHA commissioner, the leadership there.
It's just interesting that that's like one of the things that, like, at minimum, it just seems like that's something that they potentially could at least
Yeah.
give some sort of a benchmark that it's like, this is what each development should at minimum have this number of these campuses deployed in this many areas and just.
But that's in effect. That is literally in effect, like all city-owned properties are supposed to have the rat prevention bins now out, and you see some of them have been complying. The precincts have been complying. But We know housing personnel, if they don't have a lot as it is to take care of what they was already taking care of.
I love what you just said. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, this is just so good that I just love what you said. They're supposed to have, because things don't run how they're supposed to run unless like we call them up and say, hey, are you supposed to have these beans? And are you supposed to have, you know what I mean? For certain hours too, they put hours, you know what I mean?
That's right. And the way that you see, when you see it happen is when you go to, let's say, the council member for this district and you say, you know that this particular housing complex isn't complying with the mayor's, but which is a citywide policy to now Henny Spins, and then he'll go and say, you go to this particular place not doing it, and then they'll just call that one particular place and say, put the bins out because maybe you boys complain there.
Check mark.
Yeah, but then what about all the rest of the compliance, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because it happens in all the other neighborhoods in the city, depending on who the council member is, you see particular things being done.
Right.
Interesting.
So I'll keep us going.
Selfless.
We're getting a little heated.
I don't think,
It's important.
I'll be honest, yeah, I'm gonna say that, it's you gotta talk about it, if we don't talk about it, we're not gonna. It's not just that we meet on the topic. Talk about it, Get those frustrations out and let's direct our energy in the right direction, so.
That's true.
I'm definitely not gonna ever stop that. I'm just always looking at the time.
Yeah.
I'm also, she's all right, she just gotta fight through it. Okay. So number 8 is another DIFTA one, I won't take us back into that whole, we understand what we gotta do with DIFTA. This was another one, very unfortunate, other requests, for number 9, sorry. Other requests for services for vulnerable New Yorkers. So this one was regarding, the LGBTQ community and providing support there. Addressing substance use, targeting mental health services and addiction recovery programs. This was, and this was something Ash brought up in the lack of services for folks in the LGBTQ community in this area specifically, and that they have to go outside of this community board to get services that they may need. So this was made to HRA specifically, and their response was the agency supports and can accommodate the request. I told you this right. The agency supports and can accommodate. The explanation, the agency serves more than 3 million low-income New Yorkers through a broad range of programs to address poverty and income inequality and prevent homelessness. I don't know if that doesn't address.
That could be anything. Yeah, so then that's when we say to them, so give us your
Yes.
data and specifically for community for the level.
And for the LGBT community specifically, but that was what this request was about.
They named the locations where they provide the services, demographic, how many, who benefits, like they need to provide that.
Yeah, so this is also, we should be using these responses to draft our sort of direction of our advocacy, so that based on what we're hearing back, we know what we want. All right, so number 10 was other requests for services for vulnerable New Yorkers. And this one is specifically East Harlem has seen so this is for people who are migrating in, our newest New Yorkers, those who are under attack right now. So the agency supports and can accommodate. Funding is in place to provide assistance to migrants throughout the city. This includes legal services and case management. I would just love an update on this, just given everything.
Yes, I was gonna say.
We know what's happening right now. So this is.
We know.
Not even now, I mean, just before, like, they say that.
Yeah, even before.
But that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're saying, they get away with all these. That's a very good idea to ask them specifically to show some numbers.
I mean, this is like, yeah, how are you helping the residents of East Harlem? And the answer is yes.
Right.
Very accurate. All right, so number 11, we have another request, other request, for services for vulnerable New Yorkers. This one was specifically around gun violence, as a public health crisis. Just hold on for a minute, we did a hell of a good job with these requests. I'm just going back through these. So this is great. I'm up to the human service. All right, so the agency supports but cannot accommodate, of course. Defer to mayor. Defer to mayor's office to prevent gun violence, OPGV. OPGV works to coordinate the city's various anti-gun violence initiatives, amplify community-based intervention and prevention services, and introduce technology solutions to prevent gun violence, to create safe, empowered, and interconnected communities in New York City.
But in all, and these are the best answers we get, the agency supports but cannot accommodate, because they're basically saying, we agree with you, we don't control the funding, please help us get it. So they're basically saying, go after the mayor's office to prevent gun violence. They're sending us to where they think it should, a decision could be made.
We're pointed in a direction.
Right, we're pointed in a direction. When they say, we agree and accommodate it, and then they don't do anything, that's the most difficult, because they just basically don't wanna deal with this.
Does that agency work with the mayor's action plan team? Like, cause I've never heard of this agency.
This HRA, not HRA.
Maybe we can.
Where did that come from?
I've never heard of that.
Right, I mean, I've heard of the mayor's action plan, but I've never heard of this prevent gun violence agency.
Yeah, we
Like,
definitely need to compare.
yeah, we need some clarity on.
So, it's perfect.
Who works there?
Right, right. Alright, so, number 12, which I believe is no, 12 and 13 are the last two. Number 12 was other requests for services for vulnerable New Yorkers. And this was, caseworkers' availability to meet the linguistic and cultural needs of the community, ensuring. Yeah, so, this one was also to HRA, the agency supports and can accommodate. Telephonic interpretation services continue to be available through our vendor, Language Line Solutions, in 240 languages. Please see the DSS Language Access Implementation Plan for more information, and they gave us the link to it. Interesting.
We no
It's
longer,
just, huh?
Housing Works no longer uses Language Line, we use, Propio Net. We switched from, Language Line because they also, well, I don't know, I guess it depends on how you use it, but, through the one that we have now, you can also do it through video, which is much easier than just doing it over the phone. Because you can't hear the tone, like, you know, you can't see the expressions on somebody's face, and so when you're saying certain things, it gets lost in translation. And so it's a lot more helpful to have a visual. Yeah.
Thank you for that.
It's interesting.
Yeah, sorry about that. I also think we should look into what they provide. I appreciate them providing us with, more direction. Yeah. I can see that the way we wrote up our request, it did cause them to give us more detail, more respectful responses, if you will. Not those, other ones we used to give them. I wonder if that's the case across the board, or is it just our committee? Marlene, would you know the answer to that?
I would say, I know we wanna look like the trailblazers. I know you wanna be trailblazers.
So in my committee, mine was literally almost the same thing.
That's easy.
You know, like, yes, we support, yes, we can accommodate, and some of them was, you know,
So then overall, their treatments will.
I think they actually work harder this year than the year before on the answers.
Great, I think we also worked harder on the ask.
On the-
Yeah, a few committees did, you know, from here to the education, there were a lot of good
It
people.
was
who already
all
requested
done.
it, so, yeah. I think that's.
And environmental.
And environment. Let's not do anything. We got, you know, we need to do some workshops on these, budget requests too, and how to write them up to get.
Proper verbiage.
Yeah, that's proper verbiage. All right, John, last but not least, other programs to address public health issues requests, provide funding for a dedicated team to regularly monitor and clean the parameters of drug treatment facilities. Okay, so this is ensuring safe disposal of drug paraphernalia. Before I even read the response, I know that, we need to, I've been talking with, the vice chair, Jessica, about, working with the Parks Department in this regard, because some of this is, it falls within, you know, a lot of this sometimes is on Parks grounds.
It was.
So we
It
need
was.
to like coordinate with parks to see like, you know, they have their own process.
We should both have maybe like the same language that we can reinforce it with both. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
So the agency response was, agency does not support, but can address the need alternatively. Okay, contracted syringe service providers already clean syringe litter in their catchment areas. DOH-MH has been working with DSNY to address syringe litter outside of SSP catchment areas and the Parks Department on syringe litter in parks and playgrounds. So additionally, a new pilot program for syringe redemption is rolling out in 2025 in select areas across NYC to help with litter issues. So we should get someone from here. We should actually ask Pauline. We can email her about this.
And I would be remiss if I didn't comment on this, just on behalf of the Parks Department, specifically me having my history with them as I do. That it's an extreme disservice and just downright incompetence of administration to subject Parks employees to having to engage with this type of condition when they literally only give them the bare minimum mediocre training to then have to engage in these, it's not even unsanitary, it's a downright health risk for these Parks Department employees to have to engage in the volume of needles that to the point to where they can't even effectively or efficiently protect themselves, let alone be tasked to protect the public. And I mean, it really just spiraled under the de Blasio administration when they was allowing parks to be safe havens for drug use. And putting these needle disposable bins in playgrounds is just downright counterproductive. That you put in needle dispensaries in playgrounds with its children. So I think the program shouldn't even be in park at all, let alone subject them parks employees that have to engage in removing them. They're not medical professionals, they're not hazardous waste professionals. They already have to deal with a lot of squalor, deplorable garbage conditions as it is. The health, this is what, see, I'm just putting out there. This is what commissioners, the mayor does with commissioners. They intercollaborate with agencies to exploit their workforce, and it's usually the lowest people that can't defend themselves or speak up or who are afraid to, that they interconnect them to work in different city agencies. Snow removal is a big example. Sanitation gets paid 3 times more than a Parks Department laborer, but they force Parks Department employees to go plow streets with sanitation, and then the commissioner who knows that this is happening doesn't defend the employees, but then doubles down on it. And make it seem like not only is the Parks Department so wonderful and efficient, we go assist other agencies too. And this is an example of that. Why are Parks Department employees engaged in the health and human hygiene? Right. This is, it be explicitly done.
Thank you. I have to echo what she said, and I'm sorry that I'm speaking a little too much, but I've tried getting the Department of Sanitation into my meeting for environment open space. And I still cannot get them. And their response, because it's public, their response was due to overtime restriction, we're unable to join. What does that mean? But we don't get paid
They don't
to
get paid
join the
to
meeting,
join the
we won't be
meeting.
joining the meeting, that's how I took it, I don't know if anybody else is different,
That's
but
exactly what they.
like,
Wow.
we are doing the work, and this is maybe overtime for most of us, because I'm a mom of 3, right? But I'm here because I care about my community, and that was the best answer, if anything, that I received. So I'm still trying to get them to come.
So Rosa, the problem is your overtime rate is the same as your regular rate.
That's right.
That was a good one, that was a good one,
I'll
Mark.
see you outside.
That was a good one, Mark.
That's true.
No, thank you, Marcus, thank you. It is very helpful having you in the space for these kind of conversations, especially with your background. The BS that you're doing, so this definitely informed us on how we can create our strategy moving forward. All right, so that was the agency responses. Really quickly, can we go over to the other document, the document for where we will leave comments. I'm just going to read off the sections that are allocated to us. And then, I would like to just encourage people to, leave any comments on the side of this document that you feel should be considered as we finalize what we write here. But before I say that, we will end the meeting by recapping the issues that were brought up last month, because we need to figure out who we want to be calling in for next month's meetings, for the rest of the meetings for the rest of this year, which is March, April, May, and June. So 4 more months we should think about who we want to be inviting and in these resolutions and certain things that we want to be doing. We should be getting good stuff. So 2 agencies on this document, so these are agency specific responses, so this is, speaking of DIFTA. This is, a response to DIFTA. I'll read what is already here, we can enhance this, but this could also go into whatever resolution and or advocacy letter we will be sending to all of the parties involved. So Department of the Aging, we support DIFTA in its advocacy for funding and the expansion of services. Specifically, we advocate for more case management, increased hours for home care, and faster services for seniors transitioning from hospital care to home care. It is imperative to expand the expanded in-home services for the elderly, EI-SEP. Currently, seniors can receive transportation assistance, adult daycare, personal care, and case management services through EI-SEP. Continued and increased funding for this service will ensure that frail older adults remain independent. We also urge the agency to increase funding for the hiring of Spanish-speaking home care providers, as a significant portion of the East Harlem senior community is composed of immigrants and persons with first languages other than English. In addition, Community Board 11 strongly opposes Mayor Adams' fiscal year 2024 budget, citing detrimental cuts of $5 million to home delivered meals and $7 million to congregate meals for seniors. I will also highlight for you all, we had a resolution that we took specifically on these budget cuts. It's in our folder, in our resolutions folder, if I'm not mistaken. I'm also happy to share with you guys if you need me to. With 13% of the district's population being 65 and older, many relying on SNAP benefits, compounded by limited access to supermarkets and food pantries, there's a grave concern for exacerbating food insecurity among vulnerable seniors. Given the congregate and home delivered meals, congregate and home delivered meals are vital nutrition services for seniors nationwide, particularly in areas with significant food access challenges like our district, we urge reconsideration to prevent further hardship for our city's older residents on fixed incomes. We urge DIFTA to allocate more funding towards housing for seniors, particularly in light of the termination of the 421A tax abatement program. With the end of this program, there's a heightened risk of reduced availability and increased cost of affordable housing options for seniors, exacerbating an already pressing issue. Seniors, many of whom are on fixed incomes, rely heavily on affordable housing to maintain their quality of life and independence as they age. Sorry. Lastly, we encourage DIFTA to create partnerships with community-based organizations and provide incentives for the creation of programs to meet the needs of high concentration populations of seniors in our district and city. Increasing EISEP availability is essential to all older adults in NYC. The lack of home care for underserved older adults is forcing them into nursing homes prematurely. And then there's the tracking codes for the budget request, which were the 3 I read. So I, just as a writer, y'all, I feel just like the language is too, I think the language sounds a bit more like we want to ensure that we are articulating it right, but there's no sense of urgency in the request. This was a critique I had about, some other writing I saw coming out of Human Services when I first started as the chair. So I'm going to also, so all I'm saying essentially is my comments will be a lot around using more, you know, when you write grants, you don't speak maybe, we urge, you kind of speak definitely, speak more assertive and definitive. So my comments will be a lot of changing the language. You know, we're making comments, but we can change the language that we want to, our sort of, any thoughts on this before I move to the next one? Yes, please.
I'll also say too, just for, easeability or fluidity, that you should put some bullets in there instead of it just being paragraph.
Is that a formatting thing we can do?
No, it's not usually sound like that, because it's just in like letter format, just basic. I've never seen it done like that in my opinion, but you could speak to Angel about that.
Change is gonna come. Right. Let us be the trailblazers. Let us be the meccas of this.
Yeah, I don't see that,
The founders.
Yes.
Points.
Because I think like putting it like that.
You're right, it makes it easier.
It's real heavy like that, you know what I mean?
Who's technically the audience of this? Adams is not reading it. So who is reading? The agency has already responded. I mean, I know we CC'd a whole bunch of people at the bottom, you know, they're the people who supposed to be. I mean, in many ways, they're the audience.
I think it would be our council person. But it would be, yeah, there's some, you know what else though? All these names on here, we need to directly reach out to. Reach out to Diana, Youssef, Eddie right around the corner from us too. So, Jordan.
Yeah.
We know half of these people, we need to hit them up personally.
Well, just,
What's up?
like, I'm telling you, man, that's-
You know these people. All right, cool. So, any other thoughts on the, comments to DIFTA? There you go. Any other, just comments about, critiquing language and approach at all? Style, writing style? Bullet points was a good idea.
I like the one being assertive, which is like demanding, but in a kind way, so I like that.
The way I wrote before was like, if you don't fund this, it's detrimental to our community.
Right.
Like us not receiving funding will mean that we go, whatever. So it was really like a guilt and like.
Yeah, it's gonna urge them to do that.
And just for, future purposes of the next, collaboration on the budget, I don't know how we would get this information, but having actual numbers is helpful, like to say it would cost 1.5 million to do this.
Right.
Or, So,
Right, there should be a study somewhere with this information.
yes,
Yeah.
and that includes the personnel, so if whatever it costs the personnel plus benefits, like to service this. Cause when you ask for a grant, you gotta put your budget, so
Exactly.
we should have some sort of numbers to say this is, because they kind of work together. Sometimes the assembly will throw in a certain amount. The senator will throw in another certain amount, the council will throw in another certain amount. But not for this one, because we don't have the information, I'm just saying like.
Yeah.
well,
Any other thoughts, feedback, for we transition?
I think it's
Susan?
great, Isaac. I commend you.
All right, so the second one, scrolling down a bit, scroll down and more on this computer. But it is, Department of Mental Health member. Department of Mental Health Scientists.
And then how do they- Isaac, I was saying, I was saying that we can just even have an estimate of like a budget of how much it's going to cost. Let's say if we're talking about like operating like a crisis line. There's a few organizations in the city who already do that. They have like a helpline or hotline. We can copy that figure and then put it there as a number, like you. To be efficient, we might need like maybe 3 or 4 staff. And then they can just rotate. So it can guarantee 24 hours, and then put those numbers there, what already exists.
I think,
It's like this third page.
is it? Okay, thank you.
I feel like it has to.
I did, right?
Yeah, that's it, it's. It's right to the Department of Environmental Protection.
That's
There you go. You got it.
And I thought that we were supposed to get this done by.
Let's go, just keep going.
She's gonna come back like, what?
I can,
She jerry rigged it so you couldn't. touch
I
it.
know, right? But somebody was just saying something.
Yeah, I thought we were supposed to like get our comments in by the district and budgets meeting, to the
Executive.
19.
Yeah, well, you said but executive we would vote on, so we could go up and serve them. So 19th is when district needs meet,
Me,
then the 20th, I think, is when executive committee meets and then ratify.
but we're not gonna have anything if it doesn't go to the district and budget needs.
What do you think?
Don't we all collaborate with the district and budget needs, or are you gonna send the language to?
So I'm gonna send over, here's what we want you to change it, that's it. I'm gonna look at all of the comments you all leave in those areas. And then I'll fix the language and then I'll say, let's swap, this is what we wanna change. And they'll change it, we don't, yeah.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, because this is our statement, so this is what's coming out of our committee, so it's not like, we're not requesting that they make those changes, we're telling them these things need to change. Yeah, and we should do it by the 19th. We should do it by the 19th.
Tito, there's empanada if you want.
Yeah, please eat, please. Yes, please. So, I'm gonna read that in 1 second, y'all, and then, sorry. Yeah, trying to clear a path. Alright, so, okay, so this is the writing going to, the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene. We urge the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to double its efforts to prioritize our request for alternative interventions regarding off-site intervention health peers across our neighborhood fabric and specifically within Marcus Garvey Park and Randall's Island. This doesn't feel like our thing, so. My first. DOHMH needs funding to establish a citywide crisis intervention program with a dedicated emergency call a dedicated emergency call number for response to mental health crises, which peers with lived mental health experience and emergency medical technicians to de-escalate mental health crisis. This program should be funded so that trained personnel are available to respond to the calls 24 hours a day. Such a program will relieve the police department of responding to such cases for which they are not trained and do not require law enforcement engagement. That said, all police officers must be trained on how to assist on mental health crises, calls where law enforcement is requested so that they can better assist those who may require psychiatric help. Yes. Okay, the city must fully engage in creating a comprehensive mental health services infrastructure across the city so that individuals living with mental illnesses can assess the range of services they require. Much of the street homeless population is living with untreated mental health illnesses, often because of a resistance to care, but also because of a lack of accessibility of care. It is therefore imperative that the city prioritize providing accessible mental health care and support services as well as special needs housing throughout the city and not just mostly in lower income communities of color. Yeah, I'm getting pissed off reading this because I know the bullshit. I really am, because I can see the bullshit. I'm sorry.
I felt it. I was gonna say that.
Alright, so we urged the depart, I can see what happened, because I remember writing in this and I can see how language, so I know what to do this. We urge the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to redouble its efforts to address the increased rodent populations plaguing our district, especially with the ongoing and anticipated construction throughout East Harlem. The issues persist despite the agency's effort to present a health hazard to residents of our community. We therefore call upon DOHMAs to expand enforcement and vector control for rats and other pests. Abatement should be increased on commercial corridors and green spaces and near construction sites. Additionally, throughout the creation of new services and by collaborating closely with community-based organizations, we ask the Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to prioritize the provisions and expansions of services to improve health equity in East Harlem. Vital services concerning child and adolescent behavioral health, combating gun violence, improving healthy literacy, and ensuring access to healthy and affordable food options must be bolstered. Addressing the high rates of asthma and the poor quality of both indoor and outdoor air is paramount. Neglecting these concerns perpetuates a cycle of disadvantage and exacerbates disparities in health outcomes. So
Well,
good thing none of, go ahead.
The rat thing, we already know is already being addressed. We have a whole, division in the mayor's office that did a presentation, so we know we could just eliminate that.
So I'll just say that this, I'll say this without, I'll do my best to say it. I think, I don't think, there was too much extra sauce added to what was written. But this time around, I'm going to ensure that the language is exactly, what we wanted, but what I'm most comfortable with, and I'm going to, adamantly request that no changes are made to what we submit without our prior knowledge and opportunity to be given, a chance to look at that change. And the reason I'm gonna do that is because no one is anyone on the district news committee in this committee? That's why.
Yeah.
That's it. That's exactly. No one is on this committee that's on that committee, so they shouldn't be changing our language. So that is going to be my message to them. And I will write that out. But I'll also just talk to Jess about it. I'll actually just talk to her about it. That way we don't have to hear it.
And it's too much going on in that.
Yeah, it's very much too much going on. It's messy. It's messy. It's very messy. And it doesn't
Incoherent.
It doesn't articulate that we are, to me, it doesn't represent the work I've been doing. Even in the last 6-7 months, it doesn't represent the work we've been doing, the information we've been getting back, and the approach we have been talking about taking. You know, it seems, I won't say, I know who wrote it, and I know who put the language in. I'm going to stop it.
And I just wanna reiterate, we should really omit the rat thing, because then it would feel like we didn't take the presentation seriously and we didn't acknowledge the time that they took to do the presentation. And the chair and the vice chair should know this division and the work that they're doing in this community, because they slapped us with a whole bunch of information of what they're doing in this community. for
I
rats.
agree, with you. I agree. Yes, I agree with you.
Mhm.
I agree with you. So we need to prioritize the show. We only got like 9 days. If you could go into here and give your feedback, your thoughts on, just areas where we can improve the language, or if you like, I just hate this because it doesn't da. Whatever feedback you give, it will be helpful to redrafting this. I am going to.
So now, can we see where this is, Marlene?
Yes,
Marlene,
you sent this in your,
I sent it
yeah.
to everyone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you got it in your email to your,
The one that
she
just
sent that.
updated. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so
Yeah.
we'll just make.
All of that is good. And if there's any information, additional information you need going back to previous presentations, let me know. I'm happy to look for stuff and send it to you all. But the easiest way is to go back to meetings, because every presentation and the slides is posted on the calendar where the meeting took place at. So you can always find stuff back there. You know, review the minutes, once I does the minutes. But you could also, this won't be an issue. The minutes, the presentations, whatever you need to get more clarity, but it would be very helpful if you guys leaned in on this response specifically. That's just really upsetting, because I feel like it just misrepresents the work we're doing and how we would even talk about it.
Can I?
Yeah, please.
With regards to like removing the rats, thingy-majingy, I don't, it's just my opinion, right? I suggest that we don't remove it, because while they do have like this amazing program and everything, right? So it's still not coming to like East Harlem as much. I walk outside the street and I see like 3 rats together. You know what I mean? So it's like, maybe, yes, I've seen the reduction, but it's still a problem. Yeah.
I'm
it's still a problem.
not saying that we should dismiss it, it's just that they have a comprehensive
Yes.
communication process.
Yes, yes.
And how they were accessible to come and address it, but like
Yes.
they did also say, it's incumbent on the building owners to comply with the rat mitigation policy, so it's but so much they can do.
Yeah.
If people aren't getting fined, summonses, and there's no follow-up.
Did we?
So, yeah, but so we could probably mention that we have this information. This is the division that works with the rats, but there has to be enforcement.
Right.
And that's what they don't have, probably, is the enforcement end of it.
Yeah, I agree with that. I
Yeah.
was also gonna say maybe we don't remove it and do that, but also include the aspects of NYCHA and NYCHA still being an issue for them. I don't know, but this is a response to DOHMH, so it's not. We'll be preaching to the choir essentially, because they like, yeah, we know, we're trying to do the same thing. So we can articulate it to show that we respect, like the presentation, we respect the work they're doing, but we still have some, we still want to see certain things in our.
Yeah,
community
some
that we're not-
enforcement, the
yeah.
enforcement has to be heavy.
And I think that sort of leads where you and Rose Johnson. Okay. Any other thoughts on DOHMH before we transition into the final few minutes of this meeting? No? Okay, so I just want to go back to last month and just really quickly remind us of some of the issues that I jotted down was we did. I'm just gonna point out my my scattered notes.
I thought that was the issue.
Where
I was
are you
gonna say-
on? Where are you right now?
No, I'm not on anything. We could just go back to a blue screen if you want. I'm just reading off of my own notes.
Go ahead, do you think?
Okay, so some of the things we talked about was, oh yeah, and I got names by stuff that people were, I forgot. Okay, so, affordable housing outreach was something that we talked about. Improve emergency preparedness, I have Marcel's name here. Sexual assault, sex crimes and awareness, I have Alita's name here. So I guess with you all, I'm just really just asking, who do we want to reach out to get, like, what do we want to start in this area? That doesn't have to, you can answer it now if you want to, but let's think about that sooner than later so we can start to invite people or develop whatever strategies. Stationary resources, oh, we talked about this. We should have our little know your rights cards, information about scams, addiction stuff. So there was a number of different sort of stationary resources we talked about. And I have Robin there for that, so I know that I'm supposed to work with Robin on this. We also mentioned brain health info for seniors. This was Sandra Talavera. So I am working with my the folks at my church to connect her. But if you guys also Robin, this may also be very relevant to you, but you know, they want to do more presentations with seniors around brain health. So if you have more senior groups that they can connect with, or senior homes and centers, that would be great too.
We are connected to them, and one of my coworkers is now part of their team. So
Yeah,
we're, thank you.
Hurry. Okay. Immigration, basic needs.
It's a big endeavor at Mount Sinai, but I'm worried that their funding is going to be cut as a result of funding changes out of Washington.
Are you talking about the brain health?
Everything's up in the air right now.
Immigration.
Oh, immigration, basic needs? Oh, yeah, definitely. That's definitely about to get cut. But that doesn't mean that we can't,
Right.
yeah. So we'll have to, you know, this is gonna be a grassroots, organizing movement. Yeah, you know, a lot of stuff is gonna have to happen from the bottom up, because we know we're not getting no support from the top down. And lastly, no, I got two more. One is, okay, yeah, know your rights. I got Rosa for, down on that one. Rosa, I think, I was just talking to, our niece about this. So she connected me with a gentleman who was a civil rights lawyer. And, my thinking was that at first it was like, yeah, they could come and present to this community board, but essentially we're not the people who need to know your rights, if you will. So I think it would be better if we plan, you know, and I'll also talk to the brother about this specifically and how we can better utilize his expertise, but I think that it's worth, and this also to your leader, maybe perhaps we can do some sort of gathering, maybe at the East Harlem Partnership Office where we can bring people in and then have them come in and give it to the people who actually need it. You know, so yes.
I think it should be online, so people aren't coming in person to things anymore.
Especially now to this type of.
Yeah.
So
When they might think that people are watching them and you can reset, you can set
People
up.
aren't going to doctor's appointments anymore. People
Kids
are-
on bus.
Yeah, there, people.
So I think that,
No, but we still need it, especially now, right now, it will be great. So
I think we could, you know, I don't, yes, and give me one second, I think, we could do it in person and live stream it to have it online, but I guess more, my concern is if we have it online, are people actually, yeah, it could be hybrid, definitely. But are people going to be able to access it? And that's really my thing, and if folks can access it, then that's perfect, you know, I just wanna know that it's getting in the right people's hands.
But would it be like a Zoom?
It could be a Zoom. It could be a Zoom. Yeah, it could be a hybrid thing, you know, it could be like, hey, if you wanna come in.
For those who can
you know,
come,
I can
you know,
bring a camera and do the whole live, we can make it hybrid, easy, not a problem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So one thing that I'm like everywhere with them. And one thing that I joined a couple of them, like even what we did Monday, I don't know if anyone was able to join Know Your Rights. I had my comments, but Make the Road New York was great.
Yeah.
I was able to, you know, gather a couple of information and everything, but what I specifically want to know is like the phone numbers and emails of specific person that will give me an answer, right? Because Know Your Rights, I go to Google, what are my rights, and done, you know what I mean? Great, thank you, Know Your Rights, but where can I reach the person if I'm in trouble?
My rights.
You know what I mean? Like, what happens if I'm stopped outside just because the way I look, right? What happens if, you know, like, if I'm taken, right, like what happens then? What if I get an order of deportation kind of thing, you know what I mean? What happens then? Who can I reach? Right, because there's a lot of information with know your rights, you know, what to do, don't open the door, stay silent, be compliant, yada. You know what I mean? But a phone number to call, an attorney on the other line, legal support, accountable.
So then that could be.
You know, so I think you should talk to Kenny about what you, ask Kenny that. Because if he's not able to provide that, even though he has 4 decades of being a criminal defense attorney and a professor at Columbia University, he's a guy that I know, he's a customer ethic. But ask him, cause I'm sure he knows someone. If he can't provide the information, he can bring an attorney who does.
That's not a problem though, and I'm sorry to.
But even that lawyer is gonna come with that attorney is gonna give the information. What she's talking about, but my dear.
No, I'm saying, she's saying.
There's no
who did she
capacity
call
for
if.
You said like, once your rights are violated,
Yeah.
what can I do? So
Right.
it's not just that I know my
Yeah,
rights,
he's
once they're
gonna-
violated, what can I reach out to?
And,
What-
okay, and it's not just like, okay, let me call this attorney, right?
If they.
Most attorneys charge.
They need.
I am a bilingual
Free.
immigration paralegal.
That's what she's talking
I
about.
don't have that capacity to
No,
help
I-
everyone, you know what I mean? Who can help me for free?
Who gives that?
Who?
So then, yeah.
Oh,
So it sounds like a bit of galvanizing legal resources
yeah,
and also educating folks on their rights and the
Yeah.
process they should take when and if their rights
Yes.
are violated.
because, and who to call, yeah, this is the process, this is exactly who is the person that will be able to help you. Call, I don't know, CUNY Law or call Nyla, they're great, you know, taking their,
That's the thing.
yeah, that's
I
what
like those places, nobody's going to take you.
their
Just because
capacity.
you call them, because
Their
they are
capacity.
capacity. You need to have even those nonprofit, most of the time,
We gotta.
they want, they have fundings and then they have lawyers, but you have to be in that system. You need to go to some type of intake. Then you are in their database. If anything happened to you, like right now, for our client, we have, also you have to know, it has to be either a civil rights attorney or immigration attorney. Those are 2 different things.
Yeah.
And then who can afford that?
Yeah.
For some of the clients, like they have the lawyer's phone number, and then she typed a letter that the survivors carry with them, just like their ID and things like that. So if something happened, it says there, like, you know, they don't have the right to talk to them, they have to contact the lawyer. But this is something very specific. No, you cannot have a lawyer in New York City that anybody can just call when they're in trouble. It's going to be very difficult.
it's too bad.
It's almost impossible to. I don't even know how this is gonna be possible.
Can I propose something?
Yes, please, and then brother, I'm sorry, you got you. Yeah.
Okay, so I know, there was mention of Nyla and, am I saying it correctly? Nyla and, different law attorneys. How about reaching out to them first to ask, what information are they offering people when they call? Let's say someone randomly calls like, hey, can I just few steps? And condensing all of that information, and that could be a start as to what we offer people, because we can't offer them, everyone attorneys, but we can gather all that information and say, well, based off the people we spoke with, this is what we can offer you.
That's not what they do.
Yeah,
This already was in place.
We could also do it too. We could also. do it.
Because many of those, like clients, survivors, that audience, they somehow connected to one organization in some capacity. You know, it's either for the asylum application or just, you know, medical or anything. They already in connection and they getting the information. Like the difference that they were saying, like before they could, you know, what's the difference between the administrative warrant and then the judicial one? All these things, all this information are being given. Like depending on organization are getting together and they giving the information. And now what she's saying is that, okay, you have, yes, and then what happened? Like we had a case of a client 2 weeks ago, it was last week. Thank God that we prepared her that like she has a child, then not only she made the copies of like birth certificate and all the things in the child's bag, but also she had to change how you call it, information, able to who's the point of contact, who's the person that they can reach out to when you are not allowed to pick up the child. So and then we make sure to tell her that it cannot be somebody in the same situation as you, because if something happened to them too, then the child will be taken to the police and blah, 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 blah. So they have a case manager who was listed. So when something happened to her, and God, it wasn't that, but she was in the hospital, but they called the case manager. So then the case manager said, okay, the school called me, somebody has to go pick up the child. But we said that we were like family members, or we knew the thing, so we had to go and get the child. And after that, we had to find out, we could just take the child and go home with us, you know, it showed this, it's more complicated than that. But thank God.
It's
a
real.
person, yeah.
It's real.
But and in that case, if we can buy sometimes, it's always better than the child is.
I think there's a lot of mutual aids that are doing this stuff, like not officially, because like. If you think about it, a lot of these populations aren't comfortable going to the official agencies, so I think like tapping into the unofficial mutual aid space. Can be. I swear.
Oh, you got it. No problem. We have the last comment anyway. Go ahead, big brother.
I'm learning so much from here. Thank
I
you
learn
for.
something every time I
this
walk
being,
in
like,
this room.
open. I just want to make a note, like, since, I used to work, in the federal government, in DC. I went to school down there too. Came back last year. Even though like, there's a lot of like, there's a lot of scary events and uncertainty with the funding and what's happening in the government. There is actually like an opportunity because, I was actually in DC last week and, I worked with restaurants and people were trying to get funding. And the loophole that a lot of like groups are working with is that if you don't wait until Trump gets his stuff together, then there are a lot of programs that you can push the funding out through, specifically for like DOT, like fixing like roads and SBA for small businesses and IRS. So if you know anyone who knows who has like a restaurant, or people who are trying to fix their taxes and the IRS has been behind for like, more than 2-3 years. A lot of those people they have a small window because like 6 months from now, we don't know what's gonna happen.
Right.
And maybe the courts are gonna get their stuff together and it's gonna be even harder than it is right now to know like what's happening in the government. And some of it, with the Department of Justice is a little trickier, of course, with the law and everything, but just wanted to put that out there that even though it's crazy what's happening and it's kind of like you can't make a lot of this stuff up. But you can if you know any like legal or any resources that get money from the federal government, like any agency. A lot of those aren't working on overtime right now. They can't get the funding out fast enough because this is the time to get it out right now. Department of Health, CMS, like Center for Medicare Services, all these people right now, because they're about to be fired or laid off, they're basically like, well, I have nothing to lose.
Right.
And I already worked for this for like 10 years. I might as well, make sure. Yeah. So and it's important, like if you know anyone who works in Congress, especially like Adriano Espaillat over here or Jerry Nadler on the West Side, those are the best people who can call those federal agencies because they have to answer those people. That's why it's important, like the politicians, they have to be held accountable. And it's like by law that they work for us. They're supposed to call these people to check on your taxes and your immigration cases. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there. A lot of them are open and they're moving a little faster. And we don't know how long that's going to last for.
Thank you very much. All right, y'all, so that was, if y'all are okay, I would like to end on that note. Please. Please make it up. You know what else, Anthony, just for 2 things. One, I apologize, I was sick all January.
Yeah.
You didn't miss anything in January. We just went over the website that was that is up now. And we're still working on the analysis, and I think that'll be ready in April.
Yeah, I've been on I did.
So that, but also, we're supposed to put you on the updates. You're supposed to be on the information updates. So that's a mistake that I've made because every time Marlene asks me about the agenda, I'm like, that's good. So I'm gonna make sure that, you are on there next time because you guys are supposed to be on. So yes, please give me.
Yeah. So I was just gonna say, so in collaboration with East Harlem Community Partnerships and Art and Art, Connect is hosting a Black History celebration and dinner on February 28th, the last day of the month. It is limited space, so people must RSVP for this. We are going to have a pretty robust program. So it's going to be a dinner celebration, starts at 4. We, you know, hopefully it'll end by 8, but maybe a little longer or whatever. But in essence, it's also the Art in the Park element. It's also going to introduce our traveling community wellness mural. So what the idea is that we're going to, it'll be the first stop is gonna be at this event. Shawnee from Art in the Park, they're gonna sketch out something. We're gonna have a huge canvas that's gonna be available. And it's gonna be, what does Harlem wellness look like for us? And we want everyone in the community who comes to be able to contribute to this mural. We want you to participate in this. And this is gonna be an ongoing event. So this is where we want this to be in every month. So we definitely wanna collaborate with the community board on this. We want announcements to be going out, like who wants it next month? Who wants it, you know, next month? Who wants it next month? So that way different groups can sign up and say, yes, if we wanna have it, you know, at our site the next month, they can contribute to the mural. And this is gonna be a year-long process. And we're hoping that by next February, we'll be able to present like a very large, or multiple canvases that will now showcase what community wellness in Harlem means to all of us. And yeah, and sort of like present that. And we're still trying to figure out where we will, like the end stop will be. We were thinking of the African Burial Grounds site, but we're also like wondering if we would then like sort of like disperse some of the pieces to different places. But this is the start. This is what it is. This will be the beginning of it. And so just look out for the flyers. I'll send it to Lonnie.
Send it to me.
Because there is a flyer out and there's a QR code on there so that people can register for it. But we're also looking for if people wanna, are there any presentations that people wanna highlight during that evening? We're more than open for people to come and, you know, do some storytelling and that sort of thing. We wanna have, it'd be a pretty big fellowship. And we want it to be, something that continues and that allows us as a community to continue to look at what our wellness looks like on a holistic scale, but at the same time to really address some of the things that we just never have addressed before and be in a space to be vulnerable and be okay with that and understand that that is also part of our journeys in healing and also contributing to how we have proven that we are survivors and that we thrive. And so that's why even with all the stuff that's happening in the world right now, for us, it's like, this is the norm. Like, we're used to like people cutting us off and we're used to, you know, funding not coming our way and figuring things out from the ground up. It's like, you know what? If we didn't have any food, the lady next door has got some, she's gonna come feed everybody. Like, we understand that that level of community can bring us together and that contributes to our wellness. And yeah, so that's the start of it. I think I took up enough time, but just putting that out there that this is what it is, and we welcome everyone to join us that evening for dinner. There's gonna be some soul food, and like I said, for each of the next few months, we'll be like putting a call out to see, you know, who wants to host the next painting session, and then, you know, we'll go from there.
Yeah, I would definitely, that's expanded over, I think, CD, but I've been to human services, we definitely be a part of that, so we definitely want to see what that looks like. And just as an artist, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Please, yeah, I'm over here like.
Yeah, it was just an idea that because Sean and I were like, we want to do something for Black History Month, but neither one of us knew what we wanted to do, and so I was like, well, let's do this dinner and do this big fellowship, but then at the same time, I'm like, maybe we could bring Shaunique in and we can do something art related, and then it can be like a community mural. It blew into more, and it was like, oh, this is gonna be like this one little mural, and then Sean was like, no, we gotta go bigger. And so And that is exactly what happened. It's like, no, this should be a year-long thing. So we have a framework. We have like details for like the, you know, the different types of subjects that we want to focus on each month and all that. So stay tuned. Thank you.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know, but Sean says yes to everything. And last year's Black History Month celebration was great, and the year before and everything, but like now it's increasing, right? And I had a question about is it storytelling, book reading?
Presentations, yeah, so if somebody just like has like something that they wanna say, they wanna contribute to.
Poetry.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Nice.
We're gonna have drums, we're gonna have like some dancing.
Belongo.
So, yeah.
Oh, I'm excited.
What is that, what day is that for?
The last day of the month, the
I
20th,
remind you,
It's what?
the Friday.
I remind you.
The Friday evening, with your family.
You know, I love Friday.
At East Harlem Community Partnership, so it's gonna be at,
Where we had our-
111 between
Mhm.
Park and EMS.
71.
Same place we had the.
Yeah,
The human. The email to ours when people go out.
so there's a QR code that's on the flyer, so when
Okay.
I send the flyer, you can just like register.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, we're also like we wanted to like family, like a photo kind of thing, like your family's gonna come and take pictures.
Yeah, I like pictures.
All right, y'all, if we are good, if all hearts and minds are clear, we just talked about our 2025 committee goals and budget priorities. There is no new business, so we can call roll.
Mark Grzebski,
Here.
Marcel Bondinar,
Present.
Rosa Diaz,
Present.
Arlene Foster Hernandez,
Present.
Jennifer Meyer, Valerie Ponte, Ashley Rodriguez,
Fire top ethics official for overseeing conflicts of.
Bill,
Ashley Rodriguez. No. Isaac Scott,
Present.
Robert Strickland,
present.
and Oviedo, Chief of All right, thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for, joining, Robin, I think you're the only one on. Robin, have a good night and, get well soon. We look forward to seeing you back in person.
Happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Bye-bye.
Robert's email? Yeah, you have an email?
Yeah, I also
Because
just.
she gave the number, but that one thing.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
She's right there. She was looking at you.
That's okay, I just need the email.
No, I got you, I got you.